In this video, we've compiled moments the Pawn Stars encountered thieves. Without further ado, let's get started.
It's a shekel of Tyre, like from the Bible.
Yeah, we only buy American coins, man, so.
Hold on. Since when do we only start buying American coins?
This customer brought an old coin with him to the pawn shop, which he calls the shekel of Tyre. Chum refused to have the coin in the first place. However, Rick has some other thoughts.
Basically, drop a dime on Jesus. And it was probably a coin like this.
So there is a possibility this could be one of those coins, is that correct?
No.
Rick talks a little about the ancient times when the coin was made and used.
The problem is someone cleaned it. Any coin collector considers a cleaned coin a damaged coin. If this wasn't cleaned, I'd offer you $5,000 for it. Now, the big question is how much do you want for it?
$2,000.
The coin is valuable and, as per Rick's opinion, quite rare as well. However, the only downside of this coin is being cleaned.
Will you take 14?
I can't do 1,400. It's got the historical value.
It's also been cleaned.
How about 1,750?
1,500?
I could do 16.
Yeah, 1,600.
After some negotiating, Rick gets the coin and $1,600 from the customer.
You got some potentially bad news.
What's that?
An out-of-town detective has called Las Vegas police. The shekel that you recently brought in, there's a chance it might be stolen. They want to put it on hold.
Yet another mystery unfolds here when their head of security, Andy, walks in and tells them that the shekel might actually be stolen.
My security guy, Andy, found out that the shekel I bought was stolen. Now he's got some sort of update.
The coin we've been working with the police on, turns out that the guy who originally owned it got compensated for his loss. It's ours. They released it this morning.
However, at the end, it was found out that the first owner of the coin gets paid back and that the property can be owned by Rick. When it gets pretty late at the pawn shop, one must be prepared for the night shift, and so Rick and Chumley always have someone on the back to do that.
I let people in my store at 2 a.m., but since you have a nice watch and I'm training, tonight I'm gonna let you in.
It's a Rolex.
A guy at around 2 a.m. tried to get into the pawn shop when Chum was there. He couldn't identify if the guy was a real customer or just a burglar. He wanted to sell his Rolex watch.
Well, they always give me 200. It don't work.
It's 3:30 in the morning in Vegas. Go find someone else who's going to give you $4,000.
However, it was later discovered that the man was a thief and that the item he wanted to sell was actually stolen. Rick tells the person to find someone else who can buy the watch from him at this pretty odd time. If you're finding the video interesting so far, then show us some love by hitting the like and subscribe button. Now, back to the video.
It's a desk, but it's not really a desk. It's actually a gun.
This lady came to the pawn shop today to sell her gun desk, not knowing that it could be a dangerous thing to own.
Where in the world did you get this?
I got it in an estate sale. When we got it home, I was trying to figure out how to open it and had a really good look inside it and said, you know, this isn't a desk, this is a gun.
I've seen desks with hidden gun compartments, but I've never seen a desk as a gun.
Rick asks a little about its history from the lady as she told him she couldn't figure out much about it. Rick, at first, seemed to be very excited about buying the item.
I have no idea what this thing is. I only buy guns that are made 1898 and back. The problem I have here is I don't know the date this thing was made.
Since Rick can only buy items which were made in 1898 or before, he really doesn't know when this desk was made, so he calls Sean to have a look.
This thing is a gun. You press there's the trigger. That falls down, hits the hammer, the bullet flies out this way.
When Sean comes in, he, just like Rick, gets really surprised by looking at the item first. Rick tells him a little about the desk.
What is the practical application?
I don't see one myself.
To have this all built in like this in a tiny little desk, nobody's gonna buy this for their children. I have been collecting guns and weapons since I was 10 years old. I've never seen anything like this.
Although Sean is a guns and weapon expert, he's never seen anything like that before.
Anything manufactured before 1898 is okay. You can ship it, you can buy and sell, no problem. Anything after 1898 has to be registered through an FFL licensed dealer with the ATF.
However, Sean has a problem with the item because there's no clue about its exact manufacturing price.
It looks to be in that 1890s to about 1910 era, but
good.
I couldn't tell you one way or the other for absolute certainty. It's a gray area for you and it's not worth the risk. You'd have to bring it to a gunsmith and have him professionally deactivate the mechanism.
Upon a clear examination, it was finally decided that Rick can't buy the item because it might have been made after 1898, making it not legally registered with the ATF, and so Rick can't have his hands on the item.
I never got the Secret Service because everybody knows they exist.
This guy came to the pawn shop today with something that is, to an extent, illegal to own. The Secret Service credentials from J. Howard McGrath.
I don't think McGrath was actually in the Secret Service, but being the Attorney General, I'm sure he could get any credentials he wanted. J. Howard McGrath was a power player in Washington politics.
I believe that is half of a counterfeit $10 bill.
You sure it's counterfeit and just not a bad misprint?
Rick gives a detailed look at the item and tells about the background of J. Howard McGrath. The seller also shows a counterfeit bill, which Rick gives a closer look to.
That's counterfeit. So if you pick up a bill and you look at it closely, you'll see little red and blue lines all over it. This doesn't have any of those. I don't even think it's legal to own this thing. This is an amazing collection, but it scares the hell out of me.
Upon looking closely at the bill, it is clear that it's counterfeit, which is something not great to own, and so what Rick thinks.
Let me take a look here. This is his Secret Service credential. The embossing, the seal is right on this. Normally, they either have a stripe across them or they're marked retired, so it's an interesting one because it's all completely intact. They are not real common. They are collected. That, on the other hand, you don't want. A counterfeit bill is not legal to own.
But in Mark's opinion, other secret credentials could be owned except the bill.
I'd like $1,000.
Not gonna happen. We got Howard McGrath. No one knows who he was.
You heard him say it was rare.
This is not exactly a badge, so it's going to be a little bit harder to sell. It's sort of on the fringe of badge collecting.
How about 800?
4.
Yeah, I mean, I need to get 5.
Yeah, I'll give you $500.
Finally, Rick gets the seller on a figure and closes the deal at $500. Even though these thieves got caught, that's not always the case. Click now to watch times the Pawn Stars got scammed.